at any time during this training, please make a note of those questions. Ed will have appropriate time throughout the training to stop and ask if there are any questions, so we'll handle those that way. I'll be handling the sales portion of this, and Ed will be handling the technical end of things. So without further ado, Ed, if you could take it away.
Sure. Let's show the screen. And excellent, we are now on the air, and I see that Terrain Navigator Pro is up on everybody's screens. So first I wanted to just start by going through some of the many changes in version 11.08. We just released that last week. Version 11.08 is the next of our quarterly releases for Terrain Navigator Pro. We have been endeavoring to continue to improve and enhance Terrain Navigator Pro based on feedback from our customers, and add things that we find useful, and those sorts of little corrections and things. So I wanted to start by just showing some of the printing changes that we've made. They're not many, but I wanted to touch upon them. So I'm just going to scale in here. And why can't I click on this?
Not sure.
What is this red cursor? I apologize. We are having an issue with. Stop. So we are going to go into a topo map, and I wanted to show printing, so we're going to go to the print menu. And specifically what I wanted to show is that we have changed the default map scales when you print. We had gotten a lot of comments that the scales that were presented for viewing are unintuitive, and so we were able to make it so that when you go into print, the default scales are scales that are more intuitive for printing. Of course, you can still type in whatever scale you'd like here and press update, and it will update the map appropriately to the new scale. So the functionality is essentially the same. It's just we've made it so that the default scales are more appropriate for most printing tasks. The other thing that we've changed in printing is when exporting aerial orthophotos. The aerial orthophotos had a limitation at certain scales. It would switch out to the satellite imagery. The satellite imagery is restricted in some printing operations to 11 by 17 or smaller because of licensing. But what we've done is we've made it so that that switch occurs farther out, so that you can now export aerial orthophotos over large areas at wider scales. So that's the other change, again, based on your comments and suggestions. The next feature that I wanted to show is the changes we've made to the selection tool. The selection tool is, of course, a new way in a version 11 to select areas within Terrain Navigator Pro. One of the things that we've added is the ability for the selection to select an area that is adjacent. So if you had defined a selected area, and then for some reason you wanted to select an area directly to the east, you could select it like that. Again, just right click, select adjacent area, and let's just do the one to the west. You'll also find that we've got a new right click option to right click on the map and choose to right click on the selection and choose, where is it? Apologize, something's not right. Oh, there it is. Select this quad sheet. I hit it on myself here. So choose select this quad sheet, and you'll see that it is selected, in fact, the whole quad sheet as opposed to just that area. That's a great shortcut for when you want to use File, Export, Georeferenced Map, so that you can export the quad sheet as opposed to an arbitrary area. That is kind of functionality that was a little bit missing from version 11, that you couldn't select a quad sheet easily, so now you can. And this also dovetails nicely on map packs. So if we go to Manage Map Packs, and I had a map pack that I had downloaded previously, so in this case, this map pack right here. If I wanted to download a map pack for offline use directly to the north, I could select the adjacent area to the north and then save that map pack. So those are some of the changes that we've made to the selection tool to make it more friendly for various purposes. There's also a bunch of other changes, too many to kind of go through. All of the changes are listed if you go to the Help menu, choose Contents, and then What's New. And you will find a description on every enhancement that we have ever made in Terrain Navigator Pro, and links to the appropriate help document, to help topics that are all up to date with the latest information about those changes. So that really covers most of the changes to, or most of the important changes to 11.08. I will now open it up for questions. I will take everyone off of mute. Please don't all talk at once. And let's see if I can figure out how to do that. All right, so if anyone has any particular questions about 11.08, I will be happy to field them at this time. All right, I think everyone is muted. So I'm going to assume that there are no questions on 11.08. So we will move on. So the biggest change, of course, in version 11.08 is, in fact, the release of the Sites add-on. The Sites add-on, at its heart, it allows you to bring in drawings, maps of any type into Terrain Navigator Pro for use in the field, for use within Terrain Navigator Pro sets of tools for measurement, annotations, all that sort of good stuff. Drone photos. Basically, the uses include uses in construction, site management, project management, any of that sort of stuff where you need to have a custom map out in the field or on your desktop. Those maps can be, as detailed as a drone photo and as rough as something that you've sketched on the back of a napkin, and everything in between. So what we'll do is we'll show you how to do all that stuff with this optional add-on. It's ideal for field data collection. You have a plan, you've put it on your phone, now you can go out in the field or send somebody out in the field, and they'll go and say, okay, well, here's a marker that we need to place to know that there's a problem here or an obstacle here or whatever needs to be transmitted back to the office. And of course, that's all done through project synchronization in real time. Let's see, and this is also integrated with Trimble Business Center, so that those of you who are using Trimble Business Center, you can bring your drawings directly into Terrain Navigator Pro, and I'll show you how to do that. If you're not using Trimble Business Center, no worries. We use all common formats as well. DXF is a common drawing format, and we'll show you how to do that as well. So let's start by just bringing in a basic drone photography. So we are going to go to the Layers menu. We're going to choose Custom Maps. And the construction module adds a number of, the Sites add-on adds a number of supported image formats. The base product supports only GeoTIFF, but Terrain Navigator Pro with the Sites add-on includes a number of other formats here, and we'll start with GeoTIFF because we're going to bring in a drone photo. And we're going to bring this in, and it came right in, and I'm going to go find it and figure out where it is. And it's right where that red circle is, so I'm going to close that red circle. I'm going to zoom in. And pretty soon, there it is. It's starting to come in now. So this is a drone photo that was collected by one of our customers. That it was processed using Drone Deploy or Maps Made Easy or some of the various other products that take the drone data sets and then convert them into GeoTIFFs. And then Terrain Navigator Pro can then take that GeoTIFF and display it. Now you'll see that our map scale is currently at 1,129. That is the old maximum scale in Terrain Navigator Pro version prior to version 11.08. However, we now have two additional scales, and we can zoom right into 1 and 283. Let me send around that building. And you'll see the detail right there. So we're able to take advantage of that full resolution of that drone imagery. And then we can take advantage of Terrain Navigator Pro's many tools. We can use the distance tool, for example, and figure out the distance between these two items. And just information. All right, it's 104 feet between the two trucks. Of course, we could also get the area of this pile of coal or whatever this is. 711 square feet. So all of Terrain Navigator Pro's tools still work. Markers, routes, tracks, all that stuff. You know, the same old good set of Terrain Navigator Pro tools, including printing, exporting, all that sort of stuff works as well with these photos. They can be, like I said, they do need to be pre-processed usually. However, if you can't pre-process them, you can bring those in too. We'll show you how in a minute. And so that really covers high resolution drone imagery and its possibilities with Terrain Navigator Pro. Again, at this time, what I'll do is I'll take questions on anything that we have discussed. If I just go ahead and where is the button to unmute everybody? There it is. All right, if anyone has any questions about drone photography import in Terrain Navigator Pro, I'll be happy to hear those.
So, Ed, this is Johnny Thompson. How you doing?
Excellent. How you doing, Johnny?
Doing very well. Listen, from a sales perspective, then the tools, like if for us to approach a client, that's you know we're selling drones and helping them process data, but as far as a place to view that data and then digitize and calculate acres and things, obviously Terrain Navigator Pro is great for that. But what exactly, if they add sites on, what exactly are they getting? We've been able to bring drone photography into TNP prior to now. So what is the additional product going to offer them other than more image types? Just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, the drone photography really, thanks for the question. There was some compatibility issues with some of the high resolution GeoTIFF formats that we used with drones that made them not compatible with Terrain Navigator Pro in prior versions. So this is really a highlight of what you can do with the base Terrain Navigator Pro, and showing that the drone photography import is you know, key and completely possible. You do not necessarily need the sites add-on to bring in the base drone photography. If you do have non-geo-referenced photography, which we'll cover in a minute, that's the big difference, and also line drawings and that sort of thing. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. So in certain cases, someone may not need sites. Is the additional zoom levels going to be available in the base version?
Yes.
Or is it only available in the sites?
Yes, the additional zoom levels are available in the base version.
Okay, so it just really kind of on our end to help someone determine if they need sites or if they don't need sites, and if it's not working, or they don't have the right format or something, or they need the ability to reference it afterwards, then sites would be a good play there for them.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Any other questions on drone import?
Looks great.
Alrighty, we'll move on then. we will cover now bringing in drawings that are geo-referenced already. This includes site plans that have been created with Trimble Business Center, etc. So again, we're going to go to the Layers menu. We'll choose Custom Maps. And we are going to import. And let us do the Trimble Command Center. So that was a DXF file. And DXF files are famous for not having projection information encoded into them. And those of you who have used the importing of DXF and similar formats in the past are familiar with this long list of coordinate systems that you get to pick from in Terrain Navigator Pro. With the Sites add-on in 11.08, we have improved this significantly so that you can pick calibration files. And those calibration files can be the PRJ projection file format or the site calibration format that is used by Trimble Business Center. And that's the compatibility that we've added. So we can just pick this bootcamp calibration file and hit OK. And it comes right in. You don't have to guess at the projection. And we can hit Find. And it brought me right to the location. Again, that red circle will get rid of that, and we will zoom right in to 129, and you will see we've got a nice drawing. And that drawing was brought right in, and you see the photo. You say, that's very interesting, but I want to see them both at the same time. Well, we can go to Preferences, Custom Maps, and we are going to merge them together. And now you can see the drawing right over the site, brought straight in from Trimble Business Center without any extra hullabaloo or any of that sort of stuff. When we import, we're going to go ahead and import another custom map. We're going to import, again, a DXF file. But this time we are going to choose this milling here. And again, we're going to specify that calibration file. I'm going to point out this additional feature here for applying additional transformation. What that is useful for is in the cases where you've got a drawing that is in US feet and the projection file is in meters or vice versa. The Terrain Navigator Pro can handle the conversions between those. There is even an option to convert them automatically, in which case Terrain Navigator Pro does a guess as to which way it's supposed to go, and it figures it out. And that's what I will have picked. I will find. There it is, and you'll see that there's now this additional drawing that has been superimposed. So again, we have added two different DXFs on top of the photo. Of course, all the map types work. We can put in streets. We can put in the traditional USGS topo. We can use an aerial photo from 1994. So Terrain Navigator Pro handles all that sort of stuff automatically. Let's put it back to, let's go back to Terrain Map, because that's going to show up pretty nicely. If I go to Layers and I go to Custom Maps, you'll see our custom maps that we've imported, and I can turn that milling on and off right there. Or turn off the other one. And so there's no real limit to what you can combine on your site. If you've got the drawings, Terrain Navigator Pro will bring them in, and they will appear. Also, I will point out that when you bring in a drawing, you can synchronize it with the Terrain Navigator Pro mobile app. So those means that these drawings will appear on your smartphone using the TNP mobile app. Geo-referenced, you can use them for gathering information, verifying locations, recording tracks and seeing them right there on the ground, sending back geo pins with photos. All that stuff still works you just get the additional custom maps display on the phone. So that really covers the import of DXF files and drawings that are geo-referenced. So again, what I'll do is open up for questions. We all understand DXF import and importing of drawings. Okay, cool. So I'll mute again. And let's cover the last and probably the most exciting is bringing in non-geo-referenced drawings into Terrain Navigator Pro. That you'd kind of have to know where you're going to be. So we're going to go find a bookmark that I have made earlier, which is the location of a construction project. And we've got a photo here from 2009 that shows this development. And the drawing that I am going to import is going to be a drawing for a building that was located that's located here. So let's go ahead and import that. And we're going to go to the Layers menu, Custom Maps. This time I'm going to choose Import. And I'm going to choose a JPEG. Now this can be any of various formats, JPEG being obviously the most common, PDF. So if you've got a PDF file that somebody drew up and didn't give you the raw drawing DXF, you can bring that in. Any of those sorts of formats, PNG, TIFF, you name it, basically Terrain Navigator Pro can import it as a file for referencing. If the referencing happens to be present but the projection is not, it will take advantage of the referencing. So if you've got a world file, so JPW or a PGW file that has the world files with the georeferencing, again, Terrain Navigator Pro will pick that up as well as part of the construction module. But in this case, we don't have any of that. All we have is a drawing. So I'm going to make this nice and big so everyone can see. On the left, we have our drawing. I'm going to zoom it out. Like I said, it's just a JPEG that was drawn for this plan. And on the right, we have the photo. And the goal here is to show that what it would, to get that drawing onto Terrain Navigator Pro. I have just placed a point. What I'm going to do is move that point from one side, this is again the original photo, to the other side, the photo being the reference map. And so I've just tied those two locations together. I'll do the same right here and tie these two locations together. And we'll pick a couple more points arbitrarily. And let's put one there. I'll zoom in. Make sure I got it right. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Hit done. And there it is. The drawing is superimposed in Terrain Navigator Pro just by placing a couple of points. There's the proposed building and the footprint. Now let's fast forward in time from 2009, 2016. Let's see if they built the building. And they have. And they built it in the right spot. So you can see Terrain Navigator Pro did a real nice job referencing that. We can go back to custom maps and edit it. Again, let me make it big. And I'll point out some of the additional features in here. First of all, I'm going to hit the Control key while I'm panning. And you'll see I'm panning both windows at the same time. That's an advantage. Once they are geo-referenced, you can pan them together. You'll also see that there's a cursor on the left and right. My hand cursor is on the left, that's what's dragging. The right cursor is a mirror ghost cursor that shows you the same position. So I should be right along the edge of that building. If I wanted to look down here, I will see that there is RMS error displayed for each point. I can click on each point and see and say, oh, look at that. This one's not quite right. So if I drag that in the right spot and then drag this one, or better yet, use my arrow keys. I can use the arrow keys on the keyboard just to move that point around slightly. And we can take a look and say, okay, control point 2 isn't particularly accurate. So what we can do is we can pick a more obvious spot in the basic area. I'm going to right click and choose move active point here. And so that can give me an idea. It's important to note that this is actually doing a projection on this map. This is not simple troubleshooting. This is actually projecting the map. If the map had a known projection, you could specify it here. And it will provide do the appropriate transformations. Again, I'll hold the control key. And then we'll just go around and say, yeah, that looks pretty good. This particular point, though, the error set looks pretty bad, so we're just going to get rid of it altogether because you only really need 3 points. We also support rotation in here. This particular drawing happened to be north up. Most of the time they're not. So you can specify a rotation, or when you place your first 2 points, Terrain Navigator Pro will automatically rotate it so that you don't have to even worry about north up. You place your first point, you place your second point, and then it rotates it so that everything else aligns going forward. Let's see. Oh, and of course over here in the reference map window, you have access to any of the types, map types. Merge combinations, etc. And zoom in and out. You can also turn on your layers. You see very faintly I have the parcel data, the actual parcel add-on that we sell separately is enabled. And that's also available, of course, if you wanted to use that to geo-reference against. And again, this is all, once this is imported, it all synchronizes with the mobile app so that you can collect your data in the field. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how you can bring in any drawing that, you know, as complex and detailed as this drawing here, or as simple as something that somebody scribbled together. Terrain Navigator Pro, you just place some points, tie them together, and then you've got your map available. So I'm going to open it up for questions on how to bring in a non-georeferenced map into Terrain Navigator Pro. I don't hear any questions.
Yeah, Johnny Thompson here again. It looks really good.
Thank you.
I think from our perspective, it would be helpful. Y'all have done this in the past very well, but if you can put together a little brochure or something on sites, just so we can make sure we clearly articulate the benefits of it, and not oversell it if someone doesn't need it. So that's the only comment I would make on it. It looks great, and I think we got some clients that'll need it. We just want to make sure we get that information to them correctly. So.
Excellent. Yeah, we've been working very hard on getting feedback for the last 6 months on the site's add-on from our construction partners. from within and and outside of Trimble, and to make a product that is suitable for everybody and expandable, and fits that need to be able to bring these things out in the field and in the phone, on your phone, and usable for exterior work. So if there are no other questions on the Sites add-on, that really covers it. And what I'll do is turn this over to Michelle for kind of her part of the sales presentation.
So I just want to make sure that there are no other questions. Everybody's satisfied. We do have this recorded, so if anybody needs to go back, just contact us. Be happy to make that video available. And Johnny will definitely get you some of those sales materials that you were asking about. So looking forward to be able to get that into all our resellers. And just one last thing, I was wondering if you could maybe just, in broad brushstrokes, maybe talk about the mobile app and where that is and how that kind of fits in to the scheme of things here. Is that ready to go?
Sure. Yeah, the mobile app for the Sites add-on, the iPhone version is ready to go and available for download in the Apple Store, which is completely compatible with the Sites add-on. So any maps that you bring in by any of those methods that I've illustrated will show up on the phone, and it's just as simple as picking them in your list and turning them on or off. And then again, there is some additional zoom levels that have been implemented there so that you can zoom right in on those plans and see them. Another feature that was added to the phone was the support of viewing PDF files as geopins. So that was something that was missing on the iPhone side. So if you have a geopin that is a PDF of a drawing or whatever, you can bring that right in and see that as a raw PDF file, not necessarily geo-referenced on the mobile app. And as far as Android support is in final stages of testing right now. Should be available shortly, and again is fully compatible with the Sites add-on.
And just a follow-up question on that, with TMP synchronization, it's with the Terrain Navigator Pro mobile, the desktop, and the web. Those newly imported geo-referenced images, are they going to be able to be available for customers that are logging into the TMP web portal?
Not the web portal at this time, but that's something that we are working on. Again, it's on the mobile app. We found that was what was critical for the people that we were speaking with, is that to be able to quickly get a drawing out in a field so that they could get measurements or field notes or make those sorts of corrections. And this really fits a niche to get that done.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ed. As far as purchasing the TMP Sites add-on, for those that are familiar, you can log into our web portal. That's at terrainnavigator.com. Use your login credentials, and one of those things that you can do, I'm just going to put up on the screen here, a PowerPoint here. So log in with your credentials, and what you want to do is click on I would like to enable inactive subscriptions. Once that has been selected, then you'll be able to turn the slider on for the TMP Sites add-on. Please note, when you do add the Sites add-on, it's going to be reconciled with your current subscription expiration date. So it will go for that time, and then if your subscription is about to expire or isn't for the full 12 months, there will be a prorate. The other main thing that I would like to cover in terms of sales, TMP sales for the Sites add-on is different from previous subscriptions. In other words, for the parcel data subscription, you needed to have a parcel data subscription for each of the states or regions that you have. The TMP Sites add-on, it will cover all the states that you already have, so it's not a separate state-by-state purchase. Once you purchase the Sites add-on at $180, that covers the states that you have. So you can do that online. If you're a new customer or are referring customers to buy the Sites add-on, they can purchase that on the website. And again, they would check TNP Sites add-on. And then there's the snail old-fashioned way of doing it. You can call us on sales at 800-627-7236, extensions 204. Or you can give Johnny a call at Landmark Spatial Solutions and contact me, and I'd be happy to get you his information. Are there any sales-related questions at this time? Well, I don't see that we have any questions here. We do appreciate your time. Hope everyone has a nice weekend. And thank you so much for joining us.